Pot roast is usually made from beef and has deep European roots, with versions across France, Germany, and Britain. By the 18th and 19th centuries, the tradition spread to the colonies. In Jamaica, we adapted it with the ingredients and flavors we had. Here, pot roast isn't limited to beef. We stretch the technique to goat, chicken, and today, pork. We're working with a bone-in pork leg steak, about 3 pounds. That ball joint area is full of connective tissue and marrow, and that will break down and enrich our gravy. Our first step, seasoning. I'm using salt, garlic powder, onion powder, and freshly ground pimento, or allspice. This is where Jamaican pot roast departs from Europe. Instead of rosemary, bay leaf, and wine, we build flavor with pimento, thyme, and local aromatics. What really made it Jamaican was the shift, trading out the European spices for the ones we grow and use here. Back in the colonial era, fresh beef and pork were status symbols. Only wealthy households could afford pot roast. After emancipation, fresh meat became more accessible, though salted versions were still common. Even in the 20th century, pot roast remained a middle and upper class Sunday dinner. Then came new influences. The arrival of Indian and Chinese indentured workers expanded our pantry. Ginger, curry spices, and soy sauce became part of the mix. This is half a cup of dark soy sauce. That Chinese touch is now deeply woven into Jamaican cooking, from jerk to brown stew. Just make sure every bit of that meat gets coated. I'll let this sit for a couple of hours in the fridge. You can go as short as 30 minutes or overnight if you want maximum flavor. Traditionally, this would be seasoned on Saturday for Sunday dinner. Now, while that's marinating, let's talk about aromatics. Every cook has their own twist, but in Jamaica, the base is almost always the same: garlic, onion, scallion, thyme, and pimento. These flavors are layered throughout the cooking to give the pot roast its depth and that signature robust taste. I'm also adding carrot and Irish potato. They do two things: stretch the dish so we can feed more people, and soaking up all of that gravy and turning it into little flavor bombs. Our pork is now marinated. Regardless of if your pot roast is American, European, or Jamaican, searing is a key part of developing great flavor. Wet stuff does not sear well, so I'm going to take this out of that liquid. This looks fine, but if it gets too wet, use some paper towel to get off some of that moisture. Traditionally, a cast iron Dutch oven is used. In Jamaica, we typically use a Dutchie. All I have is a stainless steel pot. It's not the best, but it has served me really well for stews and braises. I'm going to give it a nice splash of oil and let it get ripping hot. This isn't just for looks. The high heat triggers the Maillard reaction. Proteins and sugar break down and recombine into new flavor compounds. Without this step, your pot roast risks tasting boiled, flat, and one note. With that said, not all old school pot roasts were seared first. Some rustic versions went straight into the pot to save time and fuel. But flavor-wise, browning wins every time. With a thick piece of meat like this, ensure that you brown everything, especially that skin. Once that's done, we can remove it from the pot and set it aside. Now for a traditional Jamaican step. In that oil, I'm going to caramelize 2 tablespoons of sugar. It adds color and depth to the pot roast, but caramelizing sugar at this stage can be really tricky. It can easily burn, giving us off our bitter flavors, so if you're not as comfortable threading this fine line, skip this step. Use browning instead. Bonus if you have homemade browning. I have a detailed guide to making homemade browning. I will leave the link below if you're interested. Once that caramel gets frothy, we can add our aromatics. A few cloves of garlic, 1 diced onion, half tablespoon pimento. Give that a quick stir. The veggies will cool down the pot and prevent any burning. A couple stalks of chopped scallion, 1 diced carrot and 1 diced Irish potato. Next I have about an inch of ginger, another Chinese influence and works great with pork. Saute for a few minutes until fragrant. Pour in the remaining pork marinade. Don't waste any of that flavor. Then ketchup, about a cup. For acidity, European pot roast often use wine, Americans love tomato paste, but in Jamaica it's ketchup. Something that I learned recently is local Jamaican ketchup is usually less sweet and more savory than American brands. Next, I'm adding about a cup of chicken stock. I have a stock making guide that I will also leave in the description. Even though we call it pot roast, it's really just a braise. Not all braises are pot roast, but all pot roast is a braise. In Jamaica, pot roast is a special occasion or Sunday dinner dish. You'll often find it alongside fried chicken or curry goat. Because pork and beef are more expensive, it's always been a celebratory meal. Even today, you might be lucky to find it at a restaurant, but it's primarily a home cooked dish. Now we can add the meat back in. That brown meat will flavor the sauce as it cooks and the liquid will help to tenderize it. It's a sin to waste flavor, so always add back your resting juices. Depending on the cut and how tough it is, a pot roast can take anywhere from an hour and a half to over 3 hours. There are a few things to watch for along the way. I'll get into those in a bit, but for now, cover the pot and reduce the heat to very low. During that long cooking, you want to check it from time to time. Make sure that it's not burning and maybe give it the occasional flip so it cooks evenly. It's a low and slow process that's hands off, so let it do its thing. Most Jamaicans stick to stove top, but this can also be finished in the oven for more even heat. Both method works. There are a few ways to check for doneness. First, if the meat starts to flake, you know it's almost ready. You can also use a fork. If it goes in easily and the meat is tender, it's done. The third sign is when the meat starts to fall apart as you handle it. A Jamaican pot roast is usually light on the sauce, but I like a little extra, so I'm adding a splash of stock to stretch it without losing any flavor. Fresh Scotch bonnet and Trinidad pimento pepper for a bit of heat and some extra hot pepper flavor. Fresh thyme. OG viewers know this already, but if you're new here, dry thyme is a scam. With a long stir braise, you usually want to add some aromatics right at the end to bring back those fresh notes lost during cooking. This is a common practice in Jamaican cuisine for stews, curries and braises, and it makes a real difference in the final flavor. I'm going to let that infuse for a bit. While the pot roast was cooking, I was working on the side. A delicious pot of rice and peas. This is the most common accompaniment for pot roast. That is it. A rich, flavorful Jamaican pot roast. The carrot and potato are nicely caramelized and the pork is fall apart tender. Most people I know don't make it this saucy, but it's your dish. Cook it how you like. Next time I make this, I might cut back on the ketchup or saute it first to reduce the acidity. A spoon of jerk season would also take this up a notch. Still, the flavor is deep, meaty and robust. Really delicious. This is Sunday dinner vibes, straight out of a Jamaican kitchen. I'm Nick, and wow, this has been absolutely delicious. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Thanks for watching, bless up, and I'll catch you in the next one.